Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tori, and today we are working on a little project that I decided to start on a complete whim about 30 minutes before I started recording this video. So I have this Hinoki Traveler's Notebook, like bundle of sorts. I was using the cover for my bullet journal last year, and when I kind of switched out of that, I put everything back in it that originally came in this Traveler's Notebook cover, so these inserts. And I decided that I wanted to make a list notebook. Now, this is not an original idea by any means. I think I got this from Lail by Mail. I think that's her name. I've never actively gone to their channel and clicked on the videos to watch, but YouTube has auto-played them. And I've seen her making list spreads in a traveler's notebook. And I thought that this would be a perfect way for me to really journal about myself only and the things that I love, I'm obsessed with, just making lists in general, because I'm really bad at talking about myself and explaining myself, at least in person, or I feel like I am. And I'm really bad about documenting myself as well. So I do want to do the Me, Myself, and I project a little bit later on in this year. I'm thinking July for that. But this is going to be essentially an ongoing project until the journal is done. And I'll just make lists of things that I love, that I hate, that movies I like, books I like. I've got a kind of never-ending list in my head right now, and I'm thinking I might come back into kind of my cover page thing that I've got going on here, and on the left-hand side, maybe put a list of ideas for me to kind of make pages about. So I've got 2 pages of myself. Essentially, right now, I'm just kind of setting up a cover page of sorts. I recently took these 2 photos of myself and I really liked them, and I wanted to document them somehow. So I decided that I would use these as kind of an intro page to this little spread. So I printed them out. I'm going to be using a little doily that I had in my stash. A lot of these things that I am using today just came from my stash, and I'm not using very much. I wanted the first kind of dive into this project, since it was very fresh on my mind, to be very simple and very easy to complete. It took me only about 23 minutes total from the time I started recording to get all of this set up and done. So I'm going to place that little doily behind my photos. This alpha sticker, I have no idea what kit I got it in, if I even got it in a kit, but it was from Studio Calico. That much I know. I don't know how I got it from Studio Calico. I don't know if it was in a kit or if I just purchased it or what. I don't think I purchased this by itself, because this is a very bright color and that's not something that I would have purchased on my own. But I did like how it matched the green plant behind me in one of my photos. It matched pretty perfectly, so I decided to go ahead and use it and get some of these letters used up. And with this sticker, I'm going to write out reasons, and then with the 2 periods that are on this sticker sheet as well, I'm going to make a little colon after my reasons. I'm also using the Mini Bookmakers Club 20. This is me stamp set from Everyday Explorers. I don't know if this is still available. If it is, I will link it below, but this was from one of the Mini Bookmakers Club kits from Everyday Explorers. And then I will also be using an alpha that I'll pull out a little bit later on from Avery L. It's a very tiny alpha stamp set, and I'm going to add for this using that alpha. It's a 3x4 stamp set that I got from scrapbook.com. I will check to see if that's available and link it below for you as well if it's available. But yeah, so I'm getting that colon added, and then I'm actually going to remove both of those little periods, leaving them on my tweezers so that I can stamp the rest of my quote-unquote title. I am pulling the This Is Me stamp from this Everyday Explorers stamp set, and I'm going to use my Studio Calico Inky Black, and I'm going to stamp that over the doily. And from the above view of this, it looks fantastic, but let me tell you, when I was sitting down and actually putting this together, the doily is kind of like raised at the edges, so it looked so wonky, but I'm glad that it looks as good as it does from above, because that's how I'll be viewing it most of the times anyways. But when I was sitting down and viewing it at an angle, I was like, what is going on? I also grabbed the little plus sign from the new currently stamp set from L Studio or Ellie Studio. I'm not sure what the correct pronunciation is. I've heard it both ways. But there's a little plus sign in that stamp set, and I'm just using that to add a little bit of extra oomph around my page. I just stamped it all over the place, really. So I keep my 3x4 stamps in these little tubs, and I am pulling out, like I said, that Avery L letter stamp, and I'm going to use this stamp set to stamp out For This. So my title will read Reasons for This. Once I get that all stamped out, I believe I will then add a few numbers. So I'm going to add numbers 1 through 3 to this page as well, and list out 3 reasons why I decided to start this journal. Normally when I do stamping, I don't list out all of my letters and stamp them at once, but I did try it today. I was not a fan. I feel like it took me a lot longer than it would have if I stamped them individually, but it worked. So that's what I'm doing here. The F and the O had a lot more extra on the side, so I ended up stamping those separately from each other. But I will add all of the letters for the word this to my stamp block at once and get that all stamped at the same time as well. But I'm going to have to fuss with it a little bit. I pulled back out that green alphabet sticker and I flipped it over, and I'm using the back just to kind of make sure they're at least a little bit straight. You can see here when I stamp this, it's definitely not straight, so I'll go and I'll try and fix that a little bit more. I do end up getting it to a spot that I like, so we'll stamp that all out at once, and then I will get my number stamps added as well. I did consider writing like for this journal, for this project or something like that. I did want to write project, but I felt like it would be, I felt like I wouldn't like the way that that would look. I really liked how this kind of title went across the page, and I didn't want to add any more lines to it. So I just kind of went with this. So I'll add 3 number stamps, and when I add the number 3, I do stamp it a little bit shorter, shorter. So like the 1 and 2 are a certain distance, and then between the 2 and 3 is going to be shorter than the 1 and 2, so it's not even. And the way that I kind of made that look a little bit more intentional was I just added some extra words to my first reason. And so what I wrote for each of these reasons, I used my Pigma Micron pen in size 02. So my first reason was, I have always been a lover of keeping lists. So what better way to combine multiple things that I love? So documenting things and keeping lists. Reason number 2 was, I'm curious to see how many lists I can come up with to fill this. And reason number 3 is, I love looking back and seeing what I'm loving and reading lists. And I've made, let me restart that one. I love looking back and seeing what I'm loving and reading lists that I've made in the past. I'm so excited for this project. So I'm going to get those 3 things written out for my kind of intro list for this project. And then what I will do is add a little bit of stamping to the cover of this Traveler's Notebook insert, and I will be finished with my kind of setup / first cover page project spread, whatever, of this new project that I started on a whim today. I would love to know if you have any specific lists that you think that I should document. Let me know down in the comments below, and I will go ahead and get that added to my list reference guide that I'll add to the left of this page a little bit later on. And let me know what your thoughts are on this type of project in general. Like I said in my journaling, love lists, and I feel like it's a lot easier to make lists than write paragraph journaling, so I think that this will suit my needs very well. On my cover here, before we get this ended, there was a happy list stamp in this Is Me stamp set, so I'm just going to go ahead and stamp that right underneath where it says dot grid paper, and that is all. That's going to be all that I have for you today. I'll do kind of another little final flip through, and that will be the end of this video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!